Every month starts the same way. Your paycheck hits your bank account, and for a brief moment, you feel relieved. Maybe this month will finally be different. But then reality starts moving fast. Rent, bills, groceries, subscriptions, debt payments, a few random expenses you didn't even plan for. And before you realize it, most of your money is already gone. Look, this is the part nobody talks about. A lot of people are working harder than ever before, yet somehow they still feel financially stuck. Not broke enough to panic, but never financially free enough to relax. And that feeling slowly becomes exhausting. You start questioning yourself. Am I bad with money? Am I not earning enough? Why does it feel like I'm running in place? But here's the thing. The problem isn't always income. Sometimes the real problem is that we're still following financial advice built for a completely different economy. An economy where housing was cheaper, debt was smaller, and lifestyles weren't designed to constantly drain your attention and money. And once you realize that, everything starts to look different. From the moment we're young, we're taught a very specific formula about money. Study hard, get a stable job, work more, save what you can, and eventually, everything will work out. But for a lot of people today, that formula no longer feels complete. Look around for a second. Everywhere you turn, someone is trying to sell you a lifestyle, a better car, a bigger apartment, faster delivery, more convenience, more status. Social media turned spending into entertainment, and suddenly people aren't just buying things because they need them. They're buying things because they want to feel successful. Here's what most people don't realize. Modern consumer culture is designed to make you feel behind all the time, because if you constantly feel dissatisfied, you keep spending. And that's where the trap begins. Most people think financial stress comes from one massive bad decision. But usually, it comes from hundreds of tiny decisions that slowly become normal. Small subscriptions, constant upgrades, lifestyle inflation, emotional spending after stressful days. And over time, those habits quietly steal your financial freedom without you even noticing. Nothing represents modern financial pressure better than the car people drive every day. Because for many people, a car is no longer just transportation. It became identity, status, proof that you're finally doing well in life. And honestly, that's exactly what companies want you to believe. You see the commercials, the perfect lighting, the luxury interiors, the feeling of success attached to every new model. And for a moment, it feels worth it. You imagine yourself driving it to work, posting photos, finally feeling like all your hard work paid off. But here's where it gets dangerous. Most people never calculate the true cost of a new car. Not just the monthly payment, but the interest, insurance, maintenance, depreciation, and opportunity cost over time. Look, if someone spends $850 a month on a car payment, that might not sound life-changing. But invested consistently over 10 years with compound growth, that same money could become well over 6 figures. This is where it gets really interesting. Wealthy people often delay visible luxury because they understand something most people don't. Looking rich and being financially free are completely different things. Most financial problems today don't arrive all at once. They happen quietly, automatically, almost invisibly, and subscriptions are probably the best example of that. Years ago, paying for entertainment meant making a decision every single time. You physically felt the money leaving your pocket. But now, everything is automatic. Streaming services, music apps, cloud storage, premium memberships, food delivery subscriptions, AI tools. Money disappears silently in the background while people barely notice. And individually, none of these expenses feel dangerous. $10 here, $15 there, maybe $20 somewhere else. It feels harmless because each payment is small enough to avoid emotional resistance. But here's what most people don't realize. Companies intentionally design subscription models to reduce financial pain. The less you think about spending, the longer you keep paying. And over time, these tiny monthly costs begin stacking on top of each other until people suddenly wonder why they never have money left to invest. This is the hidden danger of modern spending, not dramatic purchases, invisible habits. For decades, people were told that college was the safest path to financial success. Get a degree, work hard, and eventually everything would fall into place. And for a long time, that advice actually worked. But today, the situation looks very different. Tuition costs exploded. Student debt keeps rising, and millions of graduates are entering the workforce carrying massive financial pressure before they even build real savings. Now look, education itself is incredibly valuable. Skills matter more than ever. But here's the thing most people don't stop to ask. What is the actual return on this investment? Because not every degree leads to financial opportunity strong enough to justify 6 figures of debt, and this becomes even more dangerous psychologically. People often continue expensive educational paths simply because society attached prestige to them. Not profitability, not flexibility, prestige. Meanwhile, employers increasingly care about real-world output, adaptability, and practical skills. Communication, technology, sales, content, problem-solving. This is where it gets really interesting. Wealthy people don't just buy education, they buy leverage. Here's something most people never realize about money. A huge percentage of spending has absolutely nothing to do with logic. It's emotional. After a stressful day at work, people order expensive food because they feel drained. After feeling insecure, they buy new clothes or gadgets because it creates a temporary sense of confidence. Late at night, people scroll through social media, compare their lives to everyone else, and suddenly feel the urge to buy something they never even wanted before. And companies understand this psychology extremely well. Modern marketing is no longer just about selling products. It's about attaching emotions to spending. Comfort, status, escape, validation, convenience. That's why emotional spending feels so satisfying in the moment. Your brain gets a quick dopamine reward, almost like a temporary emotional reset. But here's the problem. Dopamine fades fast. The excitement disappears, yet the financial consequences stay. Credit card balances grow, savings shrink, investments get delayed. This is where it gets really interesting. Some people become wealthy not because they're smarter, but because they learn how to pause between emotion and decision. And that tiny pause can completely change someone's financial future. One of the biggest financial traps people fall into is something called lifestyle inflation. And the scary part is, it usually feels completely normal while it's happening. At first, you just want a little more comfort. A slightly nicer apartment, a newer phone, better clothes, more expensive restaurants, faster delivery, and after working hard for years, those upgrades feel justified. But here's what most people don't realize. Every lifestyle upgrade creates a new financial baseline. What once felt luxurious quickly becomes normal, and once something becomes normal, your brain stops appreciating it while your expenses continue growing. This is why many people earn more money than ever before, yet still feel financially stressed. Their income increased, but their financial pressure increased right alongside it. Look, companies love this cycle because modern consumer culture constantly pushes the idea that success should be visible. Bigger house, better car, more upgrades, more convenience. But wealthy people often think differently. Instead of immediately upgrading their lifestyle, they focus on increasing ownership, investments, and flexibility first. Because real freedom doesn't come from looking successful, it comes from needing less to feel secure. Here's the difference most people never fully understand about wealthy individuals. They don't just think differently about money, they think differently about freedom. Average earners often focus on increasing lifestyle first. A bigger paycheck means a bigger car payment, a more expensive apartment, or more spending. But many wealthy people focus on building systems that give them more control over their future. They buy assets before liabilities. They invest before upgrading. And most importantly, they understand the power of ownership. Look, owning investments, businesses, or valuable skills creates leverage. Your money starts working for you instead of constantly disappearing into monthly payments and consumption. This is why wealthy people often appear surprisingly ordinary at first glance. Many of them avoid unnecessary status spending because they understand something deeper. Financial pressure destroys freedom. And this is where it gets really interesting. True wealth is not about luxury. It's about options. The option to leave a toxic job, the option to take time off, the option to move, the option to say no without fear. Because at the end of the day, money is powerful for one reason only. It gives you control over your time and your decisions. So after looking at all of this, the real question becomes, what actually keeps people financially stuck? And honestly, it's usually not one catastrophic mistake. It's the accumulation of small decisions repeated for years without awareness. Tiny subscriptions, emotional purchases, endless upgrades, debt disguised as lifestyle, spending money to impress people who are too busy worrying about their own lives to even notice. Here's the thing. Modern society constantly encourages people to look financially successful before they actually become financially secure. And that creates enormous pressure. People end up chasing appearances while quietly sacrificing long-term freedom. But once you begin seeing money differently, everything changes. You stop asking, "Can I afford this monthly payment?" and start asking, "What is this costing my future?" That shift is powerful. Because real wealth is rarely built through dramatic moments. It's usually built through consistent decisions that nobody else sees. Patience, delayed gratification, investing regularly, learning valuable skills, avoiding unnecessary financial pressure. And eventually, those invisible decisions create something far more valuable than status: peace of mind. The ability to live life without money controlling every decision you make.